I got to issue an apology to some of these Republicans, notably Lindsey Graham, when I said the Republicans were too ineffective to actually do anything. I guess a lot of people agreed with me. They were like, why is it that we have scandal after scandal targeting the president that seems to fizzle out conspiracy after conspiracy and no accountability? And now Lindsey Graham is saying the Senate Intelligence Committee will call the Ukraine whistleblower. I'm giddy with joy. I want to know how this started. I would like to see everyone brought to justice if they're committing crimes and exploiting our government for personal gain, and that includes the president. However, based on the track record of the Democrats who cried wolf, I really just think Trump acts egotistically and improperly, but nothing he did was impeachable. I'm sorry, the Democrats just didn't make their case. Now, listen, a lot of these people on the left don't want to believe I'm being sincere when I say it. They seem to think that I'm only saying this to pander to the right. Perhaps. What you need to realize is that I'm a moderate. I've always been and always proclaimed to be, and I'm rather ambivalent for the most part. And you need compelling evidence for me, beyond a reasonable doubt, to convince me Trump is actually abusing his office. As far as I'm concerned, there is reason to believe Hunter Biden is doing things that he's corrupt. I think Joe Biden is too. I think Joe Biden was trying to look out for his son. So Donald Trump was going to look into it, and at the best, the only thing I see the Democrats having proven, if Trump, or the worst case scenario for Trump, is that they've proven he believes fake news. But so what? Russiagate was fake news, and the Democrats believed that. Are we going to impeach literally every Democrat? No. It's about time the Republicans stood up and said, let's figure out what's going on and why, especially after Rand Paul pointed out, and a Real Clear Politics, a Real Clear Investigation story said that the potential whistleblower was colluding with somebody who wanted to join Schiff's staff. If that's true, let's call them to testify. Does it mean we think it is true? No. It just means if the report is out and it's possible, he testifies. That's it. That's all. That's it. So let's read the story. But again, I'm gonna apologize to the Republicans who I thought weren't going to do anything. I thought they were going to squeak this one by and say, okay, that's good enough for me. When Lindsey Graham said this is not that impeachment is not the proper venue, I really thought that was the end of it. I thought he was never gonna. Well, I'll hold on. I will say. We'll see what happens if he really will end up doing it. But he's saying he's gonna. Let's read. They say, Washington Examiner reports, Senate Intelligence Committee will call Ukraine whistleblower. They say, with impeachment headed to a likely acquittal next week, Senator Lindsey Graham described on Sunday how Republicans in the chamber are gearing up for investigations on 3 fronts. Yes. The Senate Intel Committee under Richard Burr has told us that they will call the whistleblower. Yes. I want to understand how all this crap started. Thank you. Me too. It's been years of the insane nonsense. Please, enough. Can we stop this? The ship is leaking of American democracy. It's about time someone figured out where the water was pouring in from. The impeachment effort began to take root with the emergence last year of a whistleblower complaint raising concerns about a July phone call between Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, in which the American leader pressed his Ukrainian counterpart to investigate the Bidens and other Democrats. The complaint, which the Intelligence Community Inspector General determined to be urgent and credible, was submitted by a CIA analyst whose identity has never been publicly confirmed. Republicans have accused House Intelligence Committee Adam Schiff, who is now the lead impeachment manager, of being complicit with the whistleblower because the person met with a House Intelligence Committee aide seeking guidance before filing the complaint, and because the California Democrat recruited 2 former National Security Council aides who worked alongside the CIA official, some believe to be the whistleblower at the NSC, in the Obama and Trump administration. That, to me, seems to be at least a minimum to ask the question, right? I'm not going to accuse anybody, but how about we say, hey, that looks a little weird. Why don't we ask some questions? Why don't we talk to them, see what's up? I think it's finally going to happen. Fingers crossed. You know, maybe I'm speaking too soon. We'll see what Lindsey Graham pulls off, but I'd like to see this investigated. Quote, if the whistleblower is a former associate of Joe Biden, I think that would be important. If the whistleblower was working with people on Schiff's staff that wanted to take Trump down a year and a half ago, I think that would be important. If the Schiff staff people, if the Schiff staff people helped write the complaint, that would be important. We're going to get to the bottom of all this to make sure this never happens again, Graham said. Thank you. I'm excited for this. Please don't let me down. But, and I'll say this too. It's not a policy issue. That's one of the biggest problems in politics today. I'm not talking about policy. I probably agree on very little with Lindsey Graham as it pertains to current U.S. policy. Now, I mean, I will say, I think most Americans agree on like most things. But when it comes to the political issues we're fighting over, I probably disagree with Lindsey Graham on a lot. I probably do. But what we're talking about right now is a justice issue. I don't agree with Bill Maher that we should cry over the end of democracy, unless, of course, you're talking about the Democratic Party cheating and letting Michael Bloomberg in. I have concerns and questions and disagreements with Republicans, but I think the Democrats have been cheating the whole time. There's a big difference. Let's read more. They say, Senator Richard Burr, who hails from North Carolina, said last year he absolutely wanted to hear from the whistleblower, but Republican members of his panel were split on the matter as House impeachment proceedings were underway. When asked for a comment, a spokesperson for Burr pointed the Washington Examiner to past statements by the chairman, including him saying the whistleblower had not yet agreed to appear before the Senate Intelligence Committee and stressing that the panel does everything it can to protect whistleblowers and witnesses. I will be absolutely fine if they want to do a private, closed door, off the record meeting where the person's identity is protected and no one knows about it because we want to protect the identity of the whistleblower. Fine. So long as it's now the Republicans doing the investigation and we get a counterpoint to what was brought up by Schiff. A lot of information Schiff has not yet released. And you know what? If they're going to play that game, fine. So long as there is balance in the government, the Republicans get a chance to ask questions, I'll be partially satisfied. Though I would like to know exactly what happens. If it turns out it's nothing, so be it. I don't need to know anything about this person. If it turns out to be true, then we should find out who this was. They say impeachment proceedings began last fall with Democrats accusing Trump of improperly leveraging. Oh, okay. No. We know all about what started the impeachment. I am not rehashing that. The House charged Trump. Graham, who is the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee and does not reside on the Chamber's Intelligence Committee, also described two other investigations that will be taken up by GOP-led panels in the Senate. He said the Foreign Relations Committee, of which he is also a member, will look into Biden's alleged conflicts of interest, and the Judiciary panel will deal with all things FISA. Oh, man. Thank you. Please follow through on this. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. There have been some Republicans who were recently indicted. We can call them out all day and night. If Trump did wrong, I'd like to know about it. But let me tell you something. Did you know I entertained Russiagate? And I feel bad for doing so. But you know what? I still did. When they claimed Trump was probably working for Putin, I said, okay, well, let's see what the investigation turns up. Guess what? I want another investigation. Tit for tat. This time we're going to figure out how this all began because it was fake news. And that means it's the time for the Democrats to now be investigated. Not because we're going to accuse them of all these crazy wishy-washy nonsense. We don't need to. We just have some questions as to what is going on, and we're going to look into it. I look forward to that, and I'd like to know. And if it turns out to be nothing, I'll be fine with it. Not like many people on the left who want to just rehash Russia over and over and over again, and they still bring it up even though it's been debunked. They just keep doing it. I don't know why. They say, quote, "Let me tell Republicans out there, you should expect us to do this. If we don't do it, we're letting you down. I guarantee you, if the shoe were on the other foot, Democrats would be eating us alive if Republicans had done any of these things," he said. So this was apparently just announced the other day with an update this morning. I got my fingers crossed, but let me tell you, I'm not super confident. You know why? First of all, I'm not, I've never been big fans of the Republicans, and I've considered them for a long time to be completely ineffective. I can't believe all of this stuff has gone down, and they've done nothing about it. The Republicans controlled everything basically throughout 2016 to 18, and they couldn't get much done. There was too much fighting. They just, I don't get it. And then they lost the House. I don't have any confidence in those people. So Lindsey Graham is saying this, and he had some reassuring words at the end, but we will see. Okay. Now, first of all, I'm not a Republican and likely will never be because I don't vote based on, party actually, I'll take that back. Let me tell you this. If the Republican Party continues to expand, bring on people like Jeff Van Drew, it's entirely possible people like me and any others eventually join in. The Republican Party has to grow a bit bigger before people like me hop on board because I'm not interested for the most part. I think Jeff Van Drew has done some things. I actually kind of like Jeff Van Drew, and he's just down the street from me. I'm not in his district, but I'm very, very, very close, like literally like a mile or two. I like what he stands for. I like that he stood up for himself, and I think he's a moderate, and I really respect that. So the Republican Party is getting close to being big enough for they've already brought in about 10% of Obama voters. They already brought in some Bernie voters. As long as Trump is willing to endorse and support someone who's voted against him, who wants to ban offshore drilling, who's pro-choice and all of those things, I'm like, Trump wants to win. And Trump, you want to call it his ego, you want to call it whatever you want, it doesn't matter. His motivation can be one thing, but in the end, he's building a coalition of people who disagree. To an extent that's good. The left's coalition is too big. It's not a coalition, actually. It's people who disagree fighting each other. If the Republicans can cast a big enough net to bring in the moderates, then they will shut down the Democrats for a decade to come. I don't know exactly what will happen, but I'd like to see this. I ragged on the Democrats. I ragged on the Republicans really hard in the past couple of days because impeachment is nearing an end, and I wanted them to call witnesses because I want to see these people testify. Well, apparently I spoke too soon. Lindsey Graham said it wasn't the venue. I didn't have faith he would move forward, but it seems like he is. And this is probably going to protect Republicans they're going to be able to call these witnesses without Democrats being able to leverage anything against them. We'll see what happens. It may result in nothing. Fine, so be it, so long as they try. Stick around. I got a couple more segments coming up in a few minutes, and I will see you all shortly.